Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Urban Spokesman. My name is Chris Sanders, and today I want to talk about the Eric Adams indictment once again. Eric Adams has pled not guilty to all of the charges. He says he has done nothing wrong. His lawyer has come out and has asked the judge in these cases to dismiss them all outright. The lawyer's argument is, one, Eric Adams says Brooklyn Borough president doesn't have any power. Number two, what Eric Adams took from the Turkish government and various other governments and other, business officials, et cetera, is simply courtesy. It's a courtesy. He said, and I quote, "It's like drinking tea." I'll play the video in a bit. Look, the only thing I want to hear is, I didn't do it. I don't want to hear about why you did it and that someone else did the same thing. Pointing at someone else doesn't justify your corruption. It's still corruption. Pointing at somebody else, pointing at Donald Trump, pointing at China, like pointing at other government officials who you didn't name. I mean, if you say someone else is corrupt, why don't you name them? Like some of the other corrupt officials in your office already resigned. Why didn't you resign yet? To me, it's not a valid argument. The only valid argument is, I didn't do it. In this case, he did do it. So he can't say he didn't do it. So now Eric Adams is resorted to justifying what he already did. He knew was illegal. Everyone else knows it's illegal. The current Brooklyn Borough president knew it was illegal to accept expensive gifts. How come Eric Adams, who's been in office for all this time, who's a police officer and trained to know the law, or allegedly supposed to be trained to know the law, how come he doesn't know about this? How come he doesn't? Look, to me, he's acting like someone who's guilty, and he did it. So that's going to be his biggest problem. Let's listen to the lawyer speak up on Eric Adams' behalf.
Good afternoon. My name's Alex Spiro, and I'm counsel to Mayor Adams. This morning, we filed a motion to dismiss the bribery allegations in this indictment. I'm going to walk you through that this morning and some other matters. The alleged conduct does not support the bribery charge. And I want to talk at the outset about two fundamental facts that I think are not clear. The first is that in the events in question, Mayor Adams was the Brooklyn Borough president. He was not the mayor. He wasn't even the mayor-elect. And the position of Brooklyn Borough president does not have vast powers. In fact, it has frankly very little. To believe these prosecutors, you'd have to believe that the gentleman at the airlines 10 years ago, he was the one who predicted that Eric Adams, the kid from Brownsville who grew up in poverty, who served this city as a police officer, would one day be mayor.
So the first part of that, the lawyer is making the argument that Eric Adams has no power and the Brooklyn Borough president has no power. And look, that is true. The Brooklyn Borough president, any borough president, they do not have that much power in New York City. However, all the more reason why you should be suspicious of someone sending you gifts, especially when they're from a foreign country. You think they aren't going to expect a favor in the future. This is what we like to call grooming. The Turkish government and various other governments in China and Israel and all these other countries, they were grooming Eric Adams because they knew he was a pay-to-play type of person, a corrupt person. And at the end of the day, that's wrong. Just because white people do corruption doesn't mean black people should do it. Again, let me say that. Just because racist white people do corruption doesn't mean that black people in power, black mayors, etc., black politicians should be doing corruption. Like, look, corruption is bad. And at the end of the day, guess who it's going to fall on? Like, it's going to fall, all the negative downstream impacts of that corruption is going to hit the Black people the most. Most people are not saying that when they're defending Eric Adams. And well, let's play the second part.
Second thing that I think needs to be clear at the outset is that gratuities are not federal crimes. Courtesies to politicians are not federal crimes. They do not violate federal law. Congressmen get upgrades. They get corner suites. They get better tables at restaurants. They get free appetizers. They have their iced tea filled up.
Oh, Eric Adams just got his tea filled. Well, no one's suing him because he got his tea filled. I read the 57-page indictment. No one is suing. The federal government is not suing him because Eric Adams got his tea poured on, a little bit quicker than somebody else. No amount of blame racism, all this and that, immigrants, Eric Adams. In one sentence, you have Alex Spiro claiming that Eric Adams represents the immigrants. In another, he's saying that he's being punished because he spoke out against immigration. I'm like, nope. This is like jive talking from a white man. Black people are buying it from a white man, just like all the white people buying it from a white man. Nope. Eric Adams is corrupt. You do not want him to be the leader of Black America and Black politicians. He has not been doing a good job of working on behalf of Black people, unfortunately for us. I thought he was going to be amazing. And to be honest, I kind of knew it could go either way. So that's why I didn't rank him number 1 or number 2 on my primary ballot in 2021, because I was of the belief that there's a chance that he might be too corrupt. I was concerned about the New Jersey thing, about him living in New Jersey. And I was also concerned about his previous corruption that he was investigated for, that they ultimately decided not to file charges with. And look, I understand when Black people achieve a certain level of power, white people automatically want to come at them with everything. And this is why you have to be extra clean, Black people. Once you get past a certain level of power, you have to stop doing corruption. Like, whatever you were doing before, you have to be way better than that. Do you think Obama was still smoking weed in the White House after he got elected? Nope. Or smoking weed at all after he got elected? Probably not. Do you think, some of the things that you would do before you get elected to a high office, you just have to stop doing? In this case, it's taking lavish gifts, $10,000 here, $10,000 there. We're going to corrupt the vote with foreign donations, grift from the city. Like, nope. Yeah, you got to stop all that, especially as a Black person. Especially as a Black person, and he knows that, and every Black person knows that. And if he didn't know that, he should know that. And we shouldn't be accepting Eric Adams just simply telling us that, oh, they're coming after me because I'm Black. When he's corrupt, he will sell us up the river. He will send us up the river while he makes off with whatever ill-gotten gains he received from various foreign governments as a result of all this corruption within. And what's funny to me is that almost everyone he hired was also corrupt. Edward Kamban, Pearson, the Banks folks, now they're getting married to try and not turn over evidence to the federal government. This is not this, like Eric Adams forgetting his phone password when the federal government is trying to do an investigation and have a look. So look, if you did nothing wrong, if you didn't have a quid pro quo, you'd simply give up the evidence so they could corroborate. I just don't trust anyone else he hires, because anyone else he hires is going to have to cover for his corruption. And there are going to be questions, there are going to be clouds around them. And if you're a civil servant working for one of these agencies, are you going to have to cover up for Eric Adams? Are you going to have to cover for him? All right, look, guys, Black people, we should not accept this from our mayor, from someone who's representing us. We should not accept it. So we have to nip the corruption in the bud. Eric Adams and his team made it a point to say that they weren't the Obamas. Well, now look where that got us. That got him indicted, and a lot of the other people on his team either indicted or investigated or having to resign. So I don't know. Maybe they might consider being more like Obama and stop drilling for oil. Stop drilling for oil. Stop trying to go lower than the next guy. It's not good. And let me tell you, there is a generational divide within the Black community. And actually, there's a generational divide within a lot of communities. A lot of the older generations believe that corruption is okay and they're fine with it. But a lot of the people older than me have to understand that us people under 50 will say, we don't like corruption. We don't like corruption. We don't even like the appearance of corruption. And as you go younger, the more people hate it. Older people, like over 50 crowd, over 60 crowd, they view corruption as, oh, this is just the way people get things done. And I think that's why we've been declining, is because we've used corruption to get things done. Casual graft, honest graft is what they tried to call it. Honest graft, meaning, well, we'll do these little shady things, but we're giving something back to the people. No. We've got to stop all that. That's the problem, is there's too much of everybody being corrupt. And look, if Eric Adams has to be the start of people, not of people being charged and prosecuted for being corrupt, fine, do it. Because it's not good. It's not good because he's a police officer. He's Black. And I know people are going to say, oh, you're an idiot, you're this, you're that. But at the end of the day, Eric Adams did it. He's guilty. Do not cry for him. He will be just fine, except that he committed a crime, a couple of crimes, a number of crimes. And when you're just getting started, where this thing is just heating up, what I think we should be doing is looking past Eric Adams and looking for new generational leadership, and not trying to hang on to someone who's clearly corrupt. And we all know it. We all know it. We all know it. And let's stop making excuses for him. Huh? Let's stop making excuses for him and let's move forward.